I'm Candice Donnelly, and I'm designing the costumes for a program about Dolley Madison to be shown on PBS. As a costume designer, I do a variety of different things. Sometimes it's fantasy. I mean, I've worked for Disney, so it kind of runs the gamut. It's part historian, part designer, and then also part trying to look into the character, figuring out what the clothes are saying about that character. This project covers a lot of different periods. The clothes change from when we first see Dolley, when she's a Quaker, and it's 1787, until when we last see her, which is 1830 or something like that. So there's a big variance in style. I use a lot of different books. I like museums. I put together a book of various prints or paintings, drawings, real clothes, to help me understand how the clothes are made and what they're made of. In these drawings, you can kind of clearly see how it's made. And then the next step is to compile fabrics. In the case of her white dress, we got a lot of different sheer white cottons, white lawn, batiste, things that the dresses would have been made of. And then the next step is to really start sketching it. When I'm drawing it, I don't copy the design necessarily, but I want to stay as close as I can to the silhouette and not give in to the tendency that people have to adapt it to a modern eye, and it becomes like generic that way, I think.
Whoa! What an amazing color!
Yeah, isn't that amazing the way it shines?
Wow.
Green.
Green and red.
You don't. This is supposed to be a little shorter.
Yeah, that helps, definitely. You know, in the process of doing this, the people who are actually making the clothes are very, very important. You know, their expertise is huge. Like a third gathered thing. What ultimately matters is the actual garment and how well that turns out. I'll often show them the fabric and say, is this the best thing for this type of dress? We'll talk about it, and then they'll give me options of what it should be, and then they'll take it and they actually drape it on a form in muslin to the size of the actress. And they'll sew that up, and they'll try on the muslin form on the actress.
And then what I did here was I put there's a little snap on it and a little elastic in there. So it's
Okay. You do a lot of the design work in the muslin, actually, because proportionately you discover how it will look on the actress. You know, how tight it is, where the waistline falls, how much fullness the actress can carry off.
I love the shape of it.
Things like that you really can't tell in a sketch. They had a knife pleated sample that was made out of paper, and then they put it on here, and then we moved it around. On the bottom of the dress, we moved it around a little bit. You have to figure out the placement, because when they go to cut the real fabric, if you start taking apart the real fabric too much, it'll end up a mess. I mean, you can still adjust it a bit, but it's better to do it ahead of time in the muslin. And I love the way the pleats came out. They look so much better not being paper. Corsets make all the difference in the world in terms of how these clothes look, and you really have to have the right corset. We used a couple of different corsets with Dolley, and it started out with the classic 18th century small waist, and then the corset underneath it is reflecting that shape. The focus is the waist. The corset pushes the breasts up, but it somewhat flattens them out. And then gradually, bit by bit, it starts to get higher. This is what they call a round gown.
Oh, this is so
dress.
And then in this dress, it was pretty high, but it was still full, and then it still poofed out in the back. But it's really almost right under the bust. But then by the time she gets to what we think of Dolley Madison, it's really high-waisted. It's the Empire style. So it's a very different silhouette. There was a very specific corset that pushed the breasts up with this style. See, you can see that there's something here, and it's almost like the fabric is attached to it there. So it really pushes everything up. It's a little bit difficult to breathe in, because if it's laced the wrong way, it can press your lungs down.
Is it too tight? No, it's good. It's good.
The other thing that you have to think about when you're doing this is you have to think about the background. For instance, when she was in the white dress, I wanted her to stand out in terms of being the only one in a white dress. Or the other thing you have to think about is the chair she's sitting in, or what the walls are going to look like. And a lot of times there's no way for you to know except when you get there. So you have to have various accessories that will help you either pull her away from the wall or have her not blend into the chair. Dolley really knew how to wear clothes and project what she wanted to project. She's definitely communicating through her clothes. She's kind of having a good time with her clothes. I like that.